Hello and welcome to 2019 and my first video of the new year. So I decided I would start doing a video on some content that I felt might be beneficial to this side of the pond. And what I mean by that is that I watch a lot of YouTube. I like to watch tutorials, I like to watch the landscape photographers, I like to watch the street photographers, I like to watch, not just photography, a lot of content. But I do get helps, tips and tricks from fellow creators online who use editing suites that I do, or cameras that I do, lenses, all these kind of things, and it's really, really handy. However, most of it seems to be all set over in the States or Canada. And I find it very, very hard to locate these similar influencers. So I struggle a little bit to try and find these influencers, if you will, in this country, in the UK. America and Canada seems to be full of gear review people, travel vloggers, all that kind of thing. It seems to be all the sexy stuff happens over in the States and Canada because you get the weather for it, let's be honest. And they travel all around and all this, you know the type of music, you know the style of shoot that comes. But I digress, because while I watch the content for various things, and like I said, I struggle to find it over here. I thought, well, maybe I could add to that, and I'll just start throwing out some content on small bits that I think are relevant. Today's topic is going to be about vlogging and the particular camera you would use for vlogging. Any video that I've watched recently over the last year, because there's been a lot of cameras came out, all the big names have all thrown the latest one out, and everybody except their mum has pretty much threw out a video saying what is the best vlogging camera of 2018. In fact, there was 2017 and 2016 and everything that goes before it. And I was on a forum recently, and that very same question was, I'm thinking about getting a new camera, what would be great for vlogging? My answer to what's the best camera for vlogging is, I don't know. Because everybody's different. It's subjective. So what's good for me might not be good for you, and what's good for you might not be good for me. And I've been through this process, and I struggled with that process, and I did so much research when it came to buying a new camera, and I eventually settled with the camera I use just now, which is the Panasonic GH5. Now, I'm a Canon user, and I've always been a Canon user, and but the long and short of it was that the camera that I wanted that Canon did was just far too expensive. I couldn't afford it, and I had to look at all the other options that were available to me and look to my peers and anyone else to see what they were using, and then try and make an informed decision myself. Now, I picked a GH5 for a multiple of reasons. It's small and lightweight, it was new on the market, it shot in 4K, both in 25 frames and 50 frames, so the higher frame rate, or 24 and 60 depending, if you're PAL or NTSC, and it had a variable frame rate option as well, which means I could boost my frame rates right all the way up to 280 frames per second if I saw fit. It was also shooting in 8-bit and 10-bit, so they had the higher codec there for filming, and you get better colour science and all that kind of stuff. It had options for profiles for shooting, though if you're shooting something pretty epic and you needed to colour grade afterwards, you could shoot in Vlog or not. It had all these options, and mainly because of the price bracket that it came into, that actually factored into it. Now, there was negatives going into the GH5. When it first came out, there was firmware issues, there was a lot of people didn't like the autofocus, and the autofocus still isn't great for vlogging, I'll be honest with you, and trying to fix it here. I've got an app on my phone, and it does get a bit. This is the problem with picking this camera, is that you're going to have to, I think you're going to have to bend on something. There's something in there on any camera you pick that you're going to go, I don't think there is a camera out there where you just go, oh man, it's just perfect right across the board. Because if there is, then I don't know about it. And I wouldn't say I was the be all and end all of knowing what's going on around there, because there's a multitude of cameras out there and companies I've never used, and I have no idea what they're like. And I'm basing this entirely on the cameras that I have used. And as I came from Canon, I really like my Canon. It's all very first world, I'm very much aware of this. Although sometimes I feel that the reviews that come from other folks, it's kind of a bit weird. It's kind of Like, oh my, I've got these 4 different cameras that are all over $2,000 each, and I just don't know which one to use. And he was like, get over yourself, mate, will you? You know, we're not all in that boat. So when the question was posed, and the thing is, I'm basing this entirely on if somebody says to me, what camera would you suggest? You're a cameraman, you do photography, you work with drones, all that kind of stuff, you surely know what you're talking about. Yeah, to a certain extent, but I know I like, and that's not what everybody else likes. Now, I used to try and vlog on the GoPro Hero 4, which I still have, and I love my GoPros. Certain projects that I work on or productions, GoPros are used very heavily, normally for cars, inside cars, talking head sequences in cars, because they're easily mounted on a windscreen or windshield for the driver and the passenger talking to each other. And they're great for B-roll to stick on the outside of the car, you know, down by the wheel or on the badge if it's a particular car that you want to catch that, you know, that logo glinting in the sun. They're great for that. And then when I found out you could vlog with it, because you got the little adapter that turns the USB input to a microphone adapter, and then you get the little cage with the hot shoe mount on top, and it's nice and light, and yeah, it was great. And I did use it. I did enjoy using it, because the other thing is that after the firmware updates, you didn't have to use the wide aspect ratio that GoPro standard comes in. You know that, well, the GoPro look, basically. Kind of everything looks a little bit fisheye. They introduced the medium and then the linear modes, and linear just makes it just look a little bit more just normal, like any sort of 24mm DSLR camera, and it looks pretty good. Last year I shot over on the Isle of Ulva, which, if you don't know, is you have to go across Mull to the other side, and then Ulva's another island off of that, and it was around about this time last year that I was shooting over there, and boy was it west coast of Scotland weather. So I wasn't prepared to take my GH5. Well, I did take my GH5, but what I didn't do is when I arrived at Little Ferry, which isn't a standard ferry, it's the local man who lives on the island, takes you backwards and forwards. When I got there, I realised how choppy it was, and I thought, well, I did all my B-roll with this. And then when I finally got onto the island, I was working for the Huffington Post, and I was to do aerial shots of the island. I can link to the documentary here, and my vlog as well. I did a vlog on it, which was shot on the GoPro. The problem I had was that the weather was so horrendous, and then when I arrived there, they gave me a quad. I wasn't getting taken to a spot to shoot, you know, like, oh, this is the drone pilot, could you take him to whatever that would be a great place to do? And so I sat and had to do my own research and find out where's the best place to go, and then I said, how do I get here? And they were, can I drive up there? They, no, just take the quad. And I'm like, okay. So I had to go way off into the mountains by myself, and to be honest, I wasn't wanting to take my GH5 on a GorillaPod whilst trying to drive a quad on an unknown island to me, or with no roads, because there's no roads on Ulva at all. It's all tracks, all farm tracks, and the further into it and further up it you go, the less they look like tracks. So from that perspective, the GoPro is actually a really, really good choice. My point is that those that like it persist and push through, and they deal with that little negative because, you know, the rest of it is enough to balance all that out. I'm exactly the same. GH5, great camera. It's got all this 4K quality, and it's got these 8 and 10-bit codecs. It's got high frame rate. I use a Metabones adapter for my Canon lens because I use a 16-35, which is on just now. So I've overcame all those little things, but the one thing that I don't have with this is great autofocus, which is what I miss from my Canon. Well, until such times as I can afford a Canon that has all the things that I want in it, then my GH5 is my choice, because I really enjoy what I have on offer from the GH5, which other cameras don't offer me. Now, some people would elect to go for Canon because they prefer the colour science. Some people elect to go for Sony's, like your A7R III or A7S II, or even the A6300 and A6500, which are nice little compacts that shoot in 4K, high frame rates, but they don't have a tilting screen. You know, you can see where I'm going with this one. It doesn't matter which camera you pick, or which elitist believes that they're like, oh, Panasonic's everything, or Sony is everything, Canon, oh, you can't go wrong with Canon. Now you've got Fujifilm, you've got GoPro, and then you've got these new ones coming out on the market as well. There's DJI starting to throw out this little pocket Osmo thing. You'll get people who will defend to the death the very thought of you not liking their tech.
Well, sir, while I may not agree with what you say, I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
And everybody is entitled to their own opinion. So I suppose where I'm going with this one is that you have to write a list out. If you don't know what you're doing, I would elect to go and watch some videos about people who have started their journey and see what they're using. Because most people on YouTube list in the description what it is they're using. Have a look and use the Amazon links just, to go and see what it is. And then type in those cameras into YouTube and get people to do people have all done reviews on them. So one might ask, why would you even bother doing a video on the best vlogging camera if you know there's not in fact the best vlogging camera? Well, that's just it, because I don't think anybody said that there isn't a best vlogging camera. Every camera is good for vlogging. The problem is, not every camera is suitable for the add-ons. And it's that simple. Whatever camera is suitable for you does exist. But there will be a concession that you'll have to make. To sum up, I guess, if you're new, or even if you're not, and you're looking to upgrade your camera, or just purchase another camera, it's like most things in life. If you're going to throw some cash at it, I would definitely do your research. I would certainly look at what's most important to you in terms of what you want to gain out of owning this camera. Are you mainly video based? Are you stills based? Are you a mixture of both? Do you need frame rates? Do you need a higher frame rate? Do you need good colour size? Do you want to record on a higher bit rate? Do you want portability? Do you want interchangeable lenses? Because if you don't, you can buy cameras that don't have it and it's got a fixed lens. Do you want something that's rugged and portable and stick in your pocket? Do you want something a little bit larger and a bit more robust that just fits in your hand and just feels a bit Is it weight related? How much vlogging are you going to be doing? What are you going to be using your camera for other than just holding it? Are you going to be using it on a tripod? Are you going to try and put it on some suction mounts? Does it need to be weather sealed? Does it need to be weatherproof? Does it have in-body stabilization? Do you want in-body stabilization? Do you have stabilized lenses? Do you want a mixture of the two? The list of questions that you could potentially ask yourself about what you need from a camera is infinite as the types of cameras that are available to you. But it's only by going through that list of what you need over what you want, and then having to make a concession somewhere down the line about what you eventually get, will you be able to decide for yourself what the best vlogging camera is. I believe the GH5 is perfect for me. It has an articulated screen, it's small, lightweight, I can use my Canon lenses on it. I get 4K, I get 1080, I get high frame rates, I get great colour, and it's a really good camera. My concession for it is the fact that it's not great in low light, and the autofocus isn't great. Anyway, that's my video. That's what it's about. It was about vlogging camera and the perfect one for you, and what is the best vlogging camera. And we haven't answered that because there isn't one. There are just lots of cameras that are different for everybody, and you should find what's best for you by doing a little bit of research. If you enjoyed this video, like it, let me know in the comments. If you might have an opinion about a vlogging camera, I'd love to know what it is. What do you use? And what is your concession? Do you have a concession on that particular camera? And if you haven't subscribed, why don't you do it? That'd be great. I'm trying to engage more, get more of these subscribers up. Thank you for your time and good day.